We might be talking to ourselves, or we might be talking.
Spin it. Refresh.
Let's try that. Yeah, we good. We up. Oh wait, it is
I'm
spinning.
still spinning.
They say live though.
It's just spinning the same thing.
Oh yeah, we up. Dude. Yeah, we good. Yo, we up. Oh wait, it is.
Coming to you live from the studios at All Access 660. It's the Full Disclosure Show. I'm your host, Mo Morris, along with my partner, Mr. Rasul Sharif. As always, who's not here today, third man in the building is our resident engineer, Mr. Steve Will. He is out today. He has a vacation day, so he is not available. Please follow us at zenapp.com. You can find out any and everything about the All Access 660 company, as well as the Full Disclosure Show. There will not be a fully disclosed show today from 12 to 1, as Breeze is not available.
Coming to you live from the studios at All Access.
Definitely, without question, he will be back next week, so you definitely can check him out. Today is September the 19th or 20th. Which one is it? It's the 20th? I get the days. September 20th. I tell you, man, these months and days and hours are moving like this. How you doing, partner?
I'm good, man. Just hanging in there, man. I do want to say, I apologize for last week. We were having some technical issues. That's all on me. Thank you to all the texts and tweets and good wishes for Pops. I've been a little off my game, but, we back now. So just wanted to say thanks. And I was off today, though. This was different, though. This was a different kind of technical issue. So, hopefully you guys enjoy the show today.
Yeah, definitely. Well wishes to your Pops.
Before you get there, you did ask me about the week. So my week was with him every day, almost every day, going to the hospital and, appreciate all the prayers and everything. But I did have something funny happen. Even in trying times, I find some humor. And my cousin comes to the hospital, and he lives in PA, so he lives about 3.5 hours away. And he's telling me about his son. He's like, oh, my son's probably taller than me now.
Taller than you.
Right. So he asked me how tall I was. I told him. He said he's 6'5". I was like, oh, we're about the same size. Whatever. Where's the size 17? 17.
17?
17. So I wear 14. What do you wear?
I wear 15. 14, 15. It just depends.
Right. Depending on the shoe, right?
On the shoe, yeah.
So 17. I said, yo, man, he might have 2-3 more inches.
Right. Easily,
right? So
how old is he?
17. He might get 2 more inches out of this. Wow. So I said, listen, and I haven't talked to him in a while. He's a listener of the show, so if he's listening now, he's gonna hear this. I asked my cousin. I said, does he play ball? And he was like, no. He's straight into his music. I said, so you had a chance to get Michael Jordan, and you got Montel Jordan. Because Montel about 6, what is he, 6'7", 6'8", right?
Yeah, he's 6'8".
So you got Montel. I hope he gets some hits.
You are crazy.
Yeah, I told him that.
He sings? Or is he playing?
I don't know what he does. As soon as I heard musical, I said he plays no ball? 0 basketball. How could you be walking around high school? How no coach grabbed you up?
I know. That's surprising.
No coach grabbed you? What high school do you go to?
Yeah, it must be flooded.
It must be flooded.
What he's doing.
Or they need to fire him.
Right.
Because you're getting grabbed up.
Yeah, for sure.
I got grabbed up in high school from another high school.
Right.
To play football based on the reputation of my brothers.
Right.
They're like, do you play? I was like, yeah, I play, but my pops won't let me play until my junior year. And I saw people leaving on stretchers, and I was like, I'm done.
Enough of that.
I'm going to work on these free throws. Enough of that. So that was my week, man.
That's funny.
How about you?
My week was cool. I was supposed to be off work all week. I was supposed to take the week off. That didn't happen. I did manage to get a day and a half in off. So I was able to do that. But I'll figure out how to use these days somewhere else at a different time. But, work is work, and, it's been busy. But other than that, same old. That's it. Nothing crazy. I got a chance to watch the Republican debate the other night.
And you got me. All right, so let me let me jump in.
Okay.
Whoever this young lady is on the Republican side,
Carly Fiorina.
you know what? I don't know if she could be my president, but she could be something. She's absolutely, at minimum, governor-ish.
Right.
I liked her a lot.
She actually showed herself really well.
I liked her a lot. And I'm like weird like that. Like I'm the opposite of the perception of most people.
Mm-hmm.
I actually look at women as leaders as a great thing.
Right.
You know, I think she's way better than Hillary.
Oh, without question.
Right. Like,
I was having this conversation with somebody else.
She's way better than Hillary. Yeah.
Listen, Hillary Clinton brings zero to the table as far as personality. She may have experience, and I can't say that she doesn't because she does, but she does not inspire at all.
I don't know. Here's what Hillary needs to do. All right. Hillary needs to say, you know what? I'm going into office for Bill because he can't run again. He gonna be over here making a decision.
You think?
And I'm good with that.
She can't say that, but
She should say something like that. Because I'm Bill and Obama, and I guess those are the two presidents I really knew. I knew the Bushes, but you know, as our age,
right?
You know, Bush 2 had 8, right?
Yeah,
Bill had 8, right? So the last 24,
right? Bush 1 only had 4, I think.
He had 4, right? So that last 28,
right, had been those same 3 people,
and that puts us at teenagers,
right?
You know, so
you're right. One thing I will say is that, and I don't want to go too deep into this, is that I'm sitting here, and you know, I guess because of the fact that I am getting older, I'm starting to get more and more into the whole political thing. But I'm sitting here looking at how they are propping Ronald Reagan as like the best president we've ever had, basically in our lifetime for sure. You know, whatever. And it's just interesting to me that that's what everyone seems to say and do. But, you know, it is what it is. But everybody throws Ronald Reagan name around. Everybody. It's amazing to me how much.
You know what I remember about him? And that was 80. He was 80s, right?
Early 80s. Shot? Yeah, early 80s.
No, not even that. I remember him laying off the air traffic controllers.
Yes, he did do that. I didn't think about that, but yes, he did.
That's my main memory of him.
Really?
They had a deal where they couldn't get laid off, right. And he was like, "I'm gonna supersede all that." Right. He got rid of them dudes. All of that. That's not cool.
Yeah, he absolutely did that. Yeah. He surely did.
So my memories of him aren't as fond as everybody else's.
Right. I will say this, and we'll close this topic up. Donald Trump was on the stage this week, and obviously he's been the lightning rod for this whole political process so far for the Republicans. His numbers have dropped. So polls came out today. He dropped from 32% to 24%. So he dropped 8%. Carly Fiorina, I keep saying her name wrong, moved up to 15%. So she overtook Ben Carson, who was second on the list before. She's at 15. Carson's at 14. He dropped 5% from prior to that debate. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen with Trump. If his star is starting
I told you a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
As soon as people start dropping out,
right,
everybody knows he's not serious. He's probably a
mascot.
No, I wouldn't say a mascot, but he's like I said, Mark Cuban said, he's refreshing for a moment though. Right. It's almost like, oh, that sounds good.
Right.
Man, you know, you go to the car dealer or something, and you can get this. We put you in this Bentley, and then you go home and go, boy, if I get this, I can't do that else. He was that moment when that car dealer told you, yeah, you can get that. Or that mortgage, or I think that he was a shock value. That's what he was.
I'm just surprised, though, that he has not come up with more substance as far as being able to speak about topics. That surprised me more than anything, just because of the fact that he's been so far ahead that he really could take a stranglehold this thing if he put some substance out.
I told you, I never thought he could.
How could you not? You got to hire the people to do it. I mean, I know this is not sports, but you got to hire people to do that.
Never thought he could. I was like, yeah, that dude can't do that.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see. I will say this. I do believe the Republicans are going to win overall the election next year, 2016, in my opinion, because the candidates for the Democrats are not very good, in my opinion.
And I'm afraid of that.
It's going to happen.
I'm afraid of that.
It's absolutely.
And I think you may be right. I'm afraid of that, though. I'll be honest.
It's going to happen.
I think that's why we won. I think that's why Obama won the first time.
Right. Because people are tired of the whole Bush.
Not only that, but you put this 90-year-old dude up against him. And that's what we're doing with Joe Biden.
Joe Biden and
We could-
Hillary. Hillary's late 60s, early 70s.
We need to find us a young
Barry Sanders.
JFK.
Bernie Sanders. Again, another guy, late 60s, early 70s. All on the Democratic side.
A leader to me. I don't want the president to die in office. He's 70, whatever.
It's
If
something
he
to
did
think
8
about.
years,
Right.
he'd be an 82-year-old president. Like, you
Yes.
think about leadership and you think about people who are going to take the mantle and do whatever. You
Right.
think about, we almost getting past it.
Right.
But you're thinking about somebody probably 40s, 50s.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I don't even know if I'm thinking 60s.
Right. They
'Cause I don't know how much
early
energy you
60s.
earn 60 in 2 days.
Right.
Yes, early 60s. So we'll see.
Definitely
We shall
will
see.
All right, let's get into some sports. Let's start with a sad moment. Last week, Moses Malone died. Moses Malone, for those of you who don't know, Philadelphia 76er, when he won his NBA championship, but he had played a lot of years, played the Houston Rockets for a lot of years. But just to run through some of the stats, he played in the league 20 years. You know, we forget that he came straight out of high school to the NBA. Played 20 years, 12-time NBA All-Star, 3-time MVP, which no one ever talks about. The fact that he's a 3-time MVP.
I didn't know that until
Yeah.
until they were talking about his.
You
his
forget,
right?
you know, that he did these things. He has one NBA title. He carried that Philadelphia 76ers team with Dr. J on it, because Dr. J was absolutely needed him to win his one championship.
Yes.
He carried them to that championship in the 82-83 season. And then he's 8th on the all-time scoring list at 27,000 points. And again, nobody talks
We start
about
talking about the top 10, and nobody mentions Moses.
Never.
Ever.
Mentions Moses. Career, and this is 20 years. So you know how usually a guy's career basically plateaus. Usually they don't start out that great, then they become great in the middle, and then their plateaus at the end, so their numbers drop. He still is a 20-12 guy. 20 points, 12 rebounds, career over 20 years.
No, he's beyond impressive, man.
Right, and we talk about Tim Duncan being the greatest power forward ever, and I don't, but people talk about him being his numbers, and he's going into year 19. His numbers won't be 20 and 12 without question. They won't be. So that tells you how much work this guy was putting in.
This guy put in work. Like, when I heard those stats,
Yes.
I apologize to the nation for this almost 2 years that I've talked to y'all, because I didn't do my research.
Yeah, we just don't talk about him. And, you know,
It wouldn't even cross my mind to think about him.
well, you know why though? Because we caught him at the tail end of his career, right? So in reality, he started in the 70s. We caught Moses towards the end of his career. You know, he was the MVP of the league when he got traded to Philadelphia, which is when he 82, which is when he came on my radar when he came to Philadelphia to play with Dr. J. I didn't know anything about Moses.
Yeah, but we talk about
prior to
and you know, I was at the one time I was at your crib.
Mhm.
We were looking up Wilt Chamberlain stats,
right.
And who's this guy?
Bill Russell.
Bill Russell stats. I mean, they don't. His stats don't compare to
No.
those stats. But we were looking up people
Right.
before us.
Right.
Maybe there's some more people in the 70s we need to look up. Like, now you got me thinking about. Let me see if Gervin was better than
Elgin
Dominique. Oh, I hear Elgin Bell all the time. My pops would tell me, he was like,
Yeah.
Elgin the best dude I saw.
Right. Elgin Bell.
Watching Mike. He's
Right.
like, yeah, Elgin was tough.
And we don't talk about
We
him
don't talk about
at
him.
all.
So we got to pay homage to these people, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, you know, and then, you know, he's a big guy, and Moses was pretty much a quiet guy. Didn't have a whole lot to say. So as far as persona was concerned, he was not going to be very braggadocious and that kind of stuff. So people are going to overlook him, unfortunately. 60 years old, though. Much too soon. Heart disease. Again, we don't see many tall guys. I know we've talked about this in the past. We don't really see very many tall men walking around older.
No.
Right now, we have a few. We have Bill Russell. We have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You have to put Bill Walton in that conversation now because he has to be in his mid-60s himself. Bill Walton.
That's it?
Yeah, he's probably mid-60s because we saw him play with
In the 80s.
Yeah, in the 80s with the Celtics. So he's got to be mid-60s. I'm sure Artis Gilmore's still walking around. And again, he's another guy who was 70s and early 80s. So, you know, we just don't see a lot of older guys, but usually it's something with the heart when they end up passing away.
People thought I was crazy when I said it. Your circulatory system got to work too hard to carry all of that.
Yeah, but I would just think that things are bigger, right? I would just, if the body is bigger, I would just assume that the heart's bigger and the liver's bigger and everything else is just bigger because you.
But you don't get a transplant based on your height. So So it's not like we're looking for a
That's a good
6'5"
point.
dude with a liver.
That's a very good point.
You know, so I don't think that's the case. But if there's some doctors out there, let us know.
So they had his funeral yesterday, and Charles Barkley did a eulogy. And Charles Barkley did it because apparently when Charles Barkley first came into the league, Moses Malone took him up under his wing. And he said he has pretty much called Moses Malone dad from his second season into the NBA. And I listened to the eulogy last night. Charles Barkley spoke for about 10 minutes. I took the time and listened to it last night. And, he was saying some funny stuff about how Moses Malone, he went to Moses like, how can I start playing? I'm not getting any time. And Moses was like, you're lazy and you're fat. You can't be lazy and fat and play in the NBA, whatever. And Moses started him off saying, listen, I'm going to help you. Just go lose 10 pounds. So he went from 300 pounds to 290. Great. Lose 10 more pounds. Got to 280. Started playing just a little bit. Doug Collins at the time started playing. Billy Cunningham, started playing him a little bit. Got to 270. Started playing more minutes. Got to 260. And then Charles Barkley became the Charles Barkley that we know. Whatever. And he said he moved into the building with Moses Malone. And he said that he would order pizza on the low. And he said the pizza would come, and he hear somebody knocking on the door. And this Moses talking about, you can't lose no weight in pizza. Whatever. And he would come take the pizza.
What's so crazy about those guys, man? Even, like you said, he didn't speak much. But, I hope at an advanced age, I get to what they had at our age. Like, you hear it in their voice. You hear, like, seriousness and just authority. Like, he had a voice where it was like, he started talking, everybody needs to listen.
Yes.
I don't think we have that voice.
No.
I think I hate my voice. So, I know I hate my voice, but you hear some other guys talk to him, he's just like, I don't know if it's raspy, I don't even think it's depth. It's just, there's some kind of authority. So, you telling this story is easy to believe. And I believe that somebody can look at him as a father figure.
Absolutely. So he would. Charles said
maybe because we don't have kids.
Probably that could be it too. Yeah,
that might be.
Absolutely could be it. Just to close this topic up, Charles basically said, I was honored when they asked me to speak because it lets me know that Moses kind of told them how he felt about me, and that's made me feel so much better. He said, so I'm calling this a bittersweet moment. Whatever, as far as him passing. So I just wanted to make sure we gave him his due respect because we really didn't while he was alive, which happens all the time, or whatever, but without question. What else is going on in the world I want to talk about? Jason Pierre-Paul, the Giants. Did you get a chance to see the hand this week?
I saw the hand.
All right, so Jason Pierre-Paul, who, for those of you who don't remember, he's a defensive lineman for the New York Giants. This summer, he was playing with fireworks. I guess it was the 4th of July, if I remember correctly, and blew off his index finger, as well as the tip of his thumb and a piece of one of his other fingers. So the picture finally came out this week of his hand. Now, he's been fighting back and forth with the Giants. He finally came in about 2 weeks ago and let them see the hand, and they would not allow him to play. He thought he was going to be able to play immediately, so he's not trying to lose any money. So he has a $14 million deal on the table right now, which is the franchise tag. But if they put him on injured reserve, he's going to have to miss the first 6 games of the season. He's trying not to do that. So at any point, a picture of the hand came out this week. Not pretty. Did you see it?
Yeah.
It's very, very, very disturbing to look at.
He's a finger off and missing a part of a finger, right?
Yeah. It's very disturbing to look at. And I'm not sure, just regular life is what I'm thinking about more than the football side of it. Just regular life, you're going to be walking around with your hand looking the way that it looks. It's a hard thing for me to even picture or imagine to have to do every day. Whatever. Still has not signed with the Giants. He left without signing his contract tender. I don't know what's going to happen with that situation. Do the Giants need him? Probably. But can he be Jason Pierre-Paul of before?
I mean, you listen to a few ex-linemen, and what finger do you think is the most important finger?
Thumb, probably.
The thumb.
Right.
So,
because it makes you do everything.
The thumb is the balance.
Right.
So it's like, on your feet, I know. So, full disclosure, I cut my finger off, and they reattached it, but I don't have total function of it.
Right.
Like, of the tip of the finger. That hasn't stopped me from being able to do anything.
Right.
just because it's just the tip of my index finger. But you don't realize how much you need something until you don't have it.
Right.
So I don't know if he knows or if anybody knows because you can't simulate it. So unless he practiced it, I don't know how you grab a person missing the digits he's missing. The thumb gives you the balance, I think, in your hand. Right. So it's the thing that,
Well, he just lost the tip of it, though, not the whole thumb.
Right.
It's the index that he lost.
Right. But I'm saying, don't know how much the tip means to that balance. Right. Like you catch something, your thumb is involved in you catching it all the time.
Absolutely.
And you might have some other fingers that don't. You catch something with your first two fingers in your hand.
Thumb is involved.
Your thumb's involved. Nobody throws a ball with their pinky and their ring finger.
Right.
Nobody does that, and the thumb just sitting back somewhere. So I wouldn't have signed him.
No?
No.
You would just let him go?
First off, the way he dealt with it.
Whoa, what was wrong with how he dealt with it?
Let us see it.
Why? He's not in the contract with them at that point.
Again, bro. Fine. You don't want us to see it? I'm trying to sign you. You don't want us to see what's going on? You don't want us to...
He wasn't obligated to do anything at that point.
I'm not saying he was wrong, but
okay.
he did.
Right.
I'm just saying because we're trying to see it, and you're like, no, I'm not going to let you see it. And now you want me to take a chance on you. But you didn't want me at the beginning. Yeah, you know how I feel about this. So, nah, I wouldn't sign him. I'm happy he didn't sign him.
Well,
not happy for him, but...
Here's the deal. Somebody's going to sign him. And
yeah, I think they will, but not at that 14-5.
But that's the franchise tag, right? So if they want him, they're going to have to sign him for that.
I don't think anybody give him 14-5.
Right. So if he doesn't play this year, he'll still be free again next year. It's the same thing for the Giants.
Right, but...
He didn't sign the contract. It wasn't them. It was him not signing it because he didn't want to go on injured reserve or whatever.
Right, but now my understanding is, maybe I'm wrong, did the Giants pull it?
I don't know if they pulled it or not. I just know he didn't sign it. It was him. Because he doesn't want to go on a unable to perform list.
Okay. Well, I will hope they pull it.
And just let him go free?
Let him go free.
Wow. I mean, that's going to
I don't know if he's worth 14-5. That's as great of a player as he was.
But you don't know if he was worth 14-5 coming back.
Exactly.
Either way.
Even more. Now I know, look, I'm going to give you 14, and I'm not sure if you even worth this 14. Then you lose a digit and a half. I'm going, nah, I'm not.
So you can't tell me, because we've seen players play with casts on their hands all the time. So you can't tell me that these guys have the same range of motion on their hand without a cast as they do with it. So why not just put a cast or a sling or something on his hand and let him go play? What's the difference? So I'm going to be devil's advocate in this.
I've seen guys play.
Right.
But ask me those guys that are playing at the same level. And so you're gonna pay him for the level that you think he could play at.
Well,
I'm not acting like he can't play. I'm not saying that my guy's not gonna be able to play in the NFL. What I'm saying is he's gonna play at what they guessed is a $14 million level. Maybe they think he's gonna play at a $12 million level, or a $10 million level, or a $1 million level. First, we don't know. So we don't know. This might be a precedent here. I don't know anybody else who cut a finger and a half off or a finger and a quarter off and played. There's nothing for me to look at and go, all right, we've seen guys do this all the time. So I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And his position depends on the position you're in.
His hand.
So he's grabbing a lot. I don't know. If it was me, not at that number. And I might have gave him that number.
But he has to get the number because it's just the way the contract is set up now with his time of service and all that stuff.
So what I'm saying is, then I gotta let him go.
Wow. You need a pass rusher badly, and you're gonna let him go.
I don't know what he is. So you'll
take the risk and just let him go. Let the Cowboys pick him up.
They get everybody else here. Is Aldon Smith with y'all yet?
No, he's with the Oakland Raiders. That was on the list from last week. Yeah, okay. Absolutely. Oakland Raiders picked him up. I was stunned to see that. But yeah, he's with the Raiders. It's gonna be interesting to see how that goes. And we watched the Giants last week, and we'll get to them a little bit later. But it'll be interesting to see how it absolutely goes. The other thing I want to talk about that we didn't get a chance to speak about last week was James Blake, the retired tennis player. Did you see him get tackled by the New York Police Department?
Yes.
So for those of you who haven't been paying attention to the news, James Blake, he's a retired tennis player, and he was standing outside of New York, outside of a hotel, and I guess there was a sting going on, and the New York police mistook him for someone else who allegedly was there was supposed to be a part of this particular sting. But the way it happened was, and the video is out there, that James Blake was standing there looking at his phone. and the cop just came and ran and tackled him to the ground, threw him to the ground and cuffed him. Now, we obviously have a lot of situations going on right now in this country as far as with the cops and the American people. But this was, it didn't stop the worst thing I've seen. I've seen much worse. But it just kind of continues to push the envelope of where we're headed. I mean, we've talked about it. We're headed to a bad space somewhere. At some point in time, it's going to be a bad space between people and cops or a racial issue. It's going to happen. But again,
it's here.
It was an Italian cop knocking over a black man, throwing him on the ground. It turns out, guy's minding his business. Instead of him walking up, basically announcing who he is as a cop, he just ran up and tackled him. And there was no reason for it at all. And it was a mistake. And then the police commissioner tried to come out and say he was a dead ringer for the guy who they were looking for. Well, it turns out, I looked at the pictures. They didn't look that much alike to me. I mean, they were two light brown-skinned men, but they didn't look that much alike to me, like each other. And then I don't even think the guy who they wanted, I don't even think he was ever even arrested because there was no information on him. Like when they went through the whole procedure, there was nothing to arrest the guy for. It's just a bad situation right now.
You predicted this over a year ago.
Right.
And unfortunately, I think we're going down that road, but it makes you wonder how many times stuff like this happens and we don't hear about it. Because if it wasn't James Blake, did we hear about this?
If it was Maurice Morris, would we hear about it?
Right. If it was Rasul Sharif, you'd probably hear about it.
Probably. Yeah. Probably. I mean, and we just had another shooting of a cop in Kentucky this week. Another cop just got shot. Didn't die.
Allegedly, right here, 78. There's conflicting reports, but they shut the entire Route 78 down because somebody allegedly shot at a cop. So I don't know if it's somebody who broke out the prison or it was crazy. Something crazy.
That was this week?
Yesterday, day before yesterday.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I completely didn't hear that. But I definitely wanted to get that out there because...
and he was decent. James Blake was decent.
Yeah, he was absolutely
never
decent.
Great.
Right.
But really good. And it's not many. I mean, it's Arthur Ashe and James Blake. Maybe it's a few more male black players. I don't know.
Nah, it's not many at all.
Right, it's not a lot, right?
Nah, it's definitely not a lot at all. Floyd Mayweather won last week, by the way. We just need to mention that. He went to 49-0 because he's tied a record. Rocky Marciano, it's a major accomplishment.
And by the pay-per-view numbers, nobody cared.
Yeah, but again, we knew that nobody was going to really watch that fight because there was no real hype behind it. So, I mean, that doesn't surprise me, but I'm just giving the guy his due for his accomplishment. He went to 49-0. He dominated the fight from all accounts. I was at a card party, so I didn't get a chance to really watch it fully. But I watched a little bit in and out. And you know what? It probably came on last night, and I missed it. Not even thinking about it. I should have watched it last night, and I did not. But anyway, he won 49-0. He's retired at this particular point. Great accomplishment. He's probably going to go down as one of the top 5 boxers ever that we've seen.
You put me in top 5?
Yeah, he absolutely has to go in the top 5. He has to. He has to. For those of you who don't like this guy because he's not knocking people out, it's boxing. It's art. It's a craft. He doesn't get hit. He's a technician. He does what he's supposed to do. Okay. And he's 39 years old, doing what he's doing. Undefeated. I mean, how do we not? It's almost like the whole Moses Malone thing, right? We're not going to talk about the guy because people don't like what he's doing. Or
you guys who listen to the show know I'm not a boxing guy, so I'll take yours. I'll take your word for it.
Well, there's a lot of people that don't like him at all. But I definitely wanted to mention the fact that he won. Serena Williams lost last week too. She was trying for the Grand Slam of all the 4 titles. She had won the Australian Open, the French Open, Wimbledon, and then she was trying to win the U.S. Open here in New York. And she did not win. She lost in the semifinals. Was not on her game. Your boy Drake is getting all the blame. You know she's dating Drake.
Right. He's a loser.
Why is he a loser?
Everybody he dates and roots for loses. I'm sitting on the Kentucky bench. They lose. They supposed to go undefeated. Kentucky loses.
You gotta be.
Let's be 100. Who's he rooting for that win? Miami when he was down there, they lost. He's not a loser. He's just a bad luck charm. That's all.
Well, they say that and I think for me, it was more the fact that her match was supposed to have been the night before at 8 o'clock. And it got rained out here in New York. And then she played the next day. And for me, I just believe that it threw her timing off. Just my opinion, because her mindset was where it was. Now, someone was arguing with me, oh, she's professional, doesn't matter, blah, blah, blah. Agreed, she's a professional. She does need to overcome that. Yeah. But I do believe that it had a factor in it.
I compare Serena to
Serena, because there's no one else to compare it to.
I'm trying to think of somebody in another sport. Obviously, there's nobody else to compare it to in that sport. But
she's the best female athlete we've ever seen.
Agreed. I'll agree with that. But let me compare it to Shaq.
Okay.
If Shaq took it the way Kobe took it, how much better would Shaq be? Like, I'm watching Steffi Graf, and these people got 20 majors, don't have nearly the physical ability she has. With her physical ability, there was a period of time before these last 2 years that she was just going out in the second round. Yeah. And so every time I look at Serena, now that stigma's in my head, where I know that she's more physically gifted than everybody. And she's a great tennis player. Mm-hmm. She'll be the greatest without trying. What would she have been if she was just like, I'm just playing tennis and I'm just trying to be the best? Because that little girl who beat her, I watched the whole match.
Yeah, Roberta Vinci. Vinci.
You know how much she must have been working to even get this moment? She might not ever win again.
You know, they say that she had a plane ticket to leave the next day because she never expected.
Exactly. I'm sure she did.
And Serena had beaten her 4 times in the past. She was unranked. She was unseeded, I should say. She was ranked number 46 in the world. Right. She had no thoughts of winning. Right. You know, it's crazy because Serena came out and she won the first set and then lost the last 2.
Listen, the whole hospital waiting room watching this thing.
Unbelievable. And she dominated the first set 6-2. Yeah. And had a chance to win the second set and didn't win it. And lost to 6-4, and then she lost third set 6-4 as well.
Now we talk a lot of NBA. Right. Obviously, we both play basketball a little bit. But, you know, you see guys in the league, and we talk, Vince Carter, you love him. Mm-hmm. As great as he is, in my opinion, he underachieves.
Yes, we agree.
And that's all
Talent-wise.
I'm saying. Talent-wise. Yeah. And that's all I'm saying. She might win 30 Grand Slams. I'd be saying she could have won 40. Right. That's all. So I'm not trying to take anything away from her.
No, I get it. I'm going to knock her one thing, though. At her press conference, first off, she wasn't really that happy, and that's fine. It's understandable. I get it. She was kind of, I don't want to use the word rude, but she just wasn't her chipper self with the people asking her the questions. But she made one statement that bothered me. She said that the woman that beat her, Roberta Vinci, played out of her mind. You can't do that, Serena.
So it's not gracious.
You can't do that. You cannot say the woman played. You can say she played an incredible game. She played a flawless game.
You know what? But, and this is where I'm with you, but this is where I have an issue with you. Mm-hmm. So I'm with what you just said. Mm-hmm. You're the guy who wants honesty. She up there saying, any other day in the world, this chick can't beat me. That's how I interpreted that.
Can't say it.
You want honesty? You don't. I agree. But some days you're sitting here, you want the truth.
Yeah.
Do you want the truth or do you not want the truth?
I think it matters.
You got to make a decision.
No,
do you want the truth or no? You got to understand what you want. Do you want the truth or no? She told you the truth.
I was disappointed in those comments.
If she would have went out there and said nothing, we'd be mad at her for that. Yeah. So you want her to say something scripted, we mad at Russell Wilson.
That's not being scripted.
No, well, you didn't want her to. They asked her how she felt. She answered the question honestly, and we mad at her.
Listen, you can't say everything to everybody. You just can't.
So, okay, let's
because I know she's not running around saying, I'm sorry, let me get this out. I know she's not saying when she wins, yeah, I'm the best tennis player in the world. It's clear, it's obvious, and I know she believes that.
Would you be mad if she said that?
Absolutely, she can't say it. You can't say it. You just can't say it.
Side note, I'm just watching Notorious yesterday.
For the first time?
No, again.
Oh, okay.
So I'm watching it yesterday, and there was a point in the studio where Biggie said, I'm the greatest rapper of all time.
I'm okay with that in the studio. Who cares?
If he came out and said that?
Yeah. I mean, well,
it's rappers who say that.
It's different.
All the time.
It's different.
Drake out here saying he the greatest.
Right. It's different, though.
What's different about it?
Because you're not going head-to-head against somebody. It's totally different. It's totally different. There's no tangible way to prove that you're the best rapper of all time. There's no tangible way to do it. In sports, you absolutely can tell tangible.
So you just said we watching the greatest female athlete of all time. But she can't say it.
She can't say it. Let us say it. She cannot say it.
Okay. I don't have a problem with it.
I do. And to basically say this woman played out of her mind is kind of downplaying.
She did.
Whether it's true or not, she's downplaying. And
What if she said I was off my game today? You'd be cool with that?
I would absolutely be okay with that.
Right.
But as long as she gave this woman credit for what she did.
I agree with you. She should have gave this woman credit. Mm-hmm. And the credit, in her mind, the credit was she played out her mind. Because if you think about the statement, you played way better than you ever played today. That's giving you credit. That really is. That really is.
It touched the nerve with me.
It's cool, but she did, essentially, technically, she did what you're saying she should have done. She played out of her mind as a compliment. If I told you,
that's not
it absolutely is. If I went to watch somebody play, I'm watching Steph Curry. Like, dude, that dude was out of his mind tonight. Yeah. That dude was out of his mind tonight. You wouldn't look at it as an insult.
No, I wouldn't, but he can't say it. He can come out and say, yeah, I shot out of my mind tonight. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But you can't say that the other person was out of it. Yeah, you can't.
So, I don't see golf on your list.
No, there's no golf about Jason Day.
And I was watching golf.
Out of his mind.
And his competitor, my man Jordan Spieth, was like, this dude's playing out of his mind. I feel like I should be paying to watch him play.
That's fine. That's a compliment. That was not a compliment, what Serena said. And I heard Jordan Spieth make the statement.
Right.
I saw the clip.
So it's not the same thing?
No,
because he's beating Jordan Spieth. And Jordan is like...
Right, Jordan's losing. He's not winning. He's losing.
So he lost.
Right. But he can't come out and make the statement that... she can't come out and make the statement that, yeah, she played out of her mind today. Basically like, yeah, it's the best she could ever do, and she did it, and she capitalized on my mistakes today. Don't make that...
She didn't say all that. You assume that. All she did was say she played out of her mind. Jordan Spieth said the same thing. He's losing. He's the best player in the world.
Wow.
We thought. He's like, this dude's playing out of his mind. And he gave it to him as a prop. So maybe her tone doesn't make it seem like it's props to you, which is fine. But the actual words, what's the difference of what they said? It's two people who said it 2 weeks apart.
Yeah, it's different. Totally different.
Because you think she was salty.
Oh, she was... Well, her whole press conference was salty.
All right. That's fine.
Whole press conference.
I think she was salty,
bad.
But what she said, the physical thing that came out of her mouth,
I got a problem with it.
You have a problem with her being salty. That's what she should have been. What she said, though, she said it in a salty way. Where Jordan said it in a complimentary way.
Exactly.
She said it, but they said the same thing.
Okay, but it's how you say it then. That's fine. We can agree with that. Shouts to my man Breeze. He's absolutely up in the atom this morning, paying us attention. He's telling me to change the camera to the right angle, so I absolutely did that. Also, shouts to...
No call, no show, bro. No call, no show.
Definitely shouts to Breeze DBL. We'll miss you, man. You'll be back next week, hopefully, and we'll get this thing rolling. Also, shouts to Aviator Life. I almost said Aviator Life.
Been texting us, telling us to speak up a little.
Oh, really? I missed that part of it. I didn't get. I just saw that he sent the tweet. Definitely shouts to him. He's one of our always listeners, man. He listens.
Marlon just sent a tweet out today.
Oh, what's up, Mar? We're getting close, man, to going down to see Georgian Court University. We're getting close. We're gonna need a schedule soon. Yes. Well, I guess we can just go on the internet and look at it. I guess I can't use that as a reason, right?
Still got this shirt around here. You know I'm wearing that. Sitting on the bench with some khakis. Find out what color the khakis are.
That's funny. You sit on the bench, I'm going to sit behind and watch.
That's all good.
I want to enjoy it.
They won't even know.
They won't know?
Mm-hmm.
All right. NBA Hall of Fames. They came up with the list of the new class that's going to be going in. JoJo White, played with the Celtics for a lot of years, is going in. Spencer Haywood. Now, I didn't get a chance to see Spencer Haywood, but from all accounts, he was a really, really good player. Yeah. Back in the day. Lisa Leslie. We know Lisa Leslie from the WNBA. Really, really good player. I guess she's a great player. We have to say that.
She's absolutely great.
She's a great player. Just kind of, I don't know. Something about her game was kind of awkward to me, but she deserves to go to the NBA Hall of Fame. Dick Bavetta, long-time NBA referee. He's probably one of the more famous ones.
Yeah.
That's on that list. That's going into the Hall of Fame. John Calipari is going to the Hall of Fame, NBA Hall of Fame. You okay with that? Coach for the Kentucky
Wildcats right now. I'm okay with it, and that's why I'm not okay with other people in other Hall of Fames.
Okay.
not getting into other Hall of Fames. He's had some transgressions.
Right. He has. We're gonna talk about one of them in a second, but
The Hall of Fame was like, so what? What
Yeah.
precedent does that set?
well, I think that the NBA Hall of Fame is basically saying that your contributions outweigh whatever it is,
So
and that's what it should be about.
And
is
that's
your
what it should be.
contributions.
Exactly. So I don't have a problem with that. But
Unless you committed a murder or something, that's a different conversation.
I honestly don't care what you do.
Yeah, I think if you commit a murder or something, then I think that's a bit much to put somebody in. But now the downside to my statement is that if someone in the Hall of Fame committed a murder, are they putting them out? And the answer is probably not. No, if they're in there already, right?
But would anybody take OJ out the Hall of Fame?
No.
I was mad when they took his Heisman away.
Right.
He did that when he did that.
Right.
You can't take that away.
Well, they took it because it was monetarily. They were
Right,
trying to
but
figure out
you know
how to
they
make
took
it.
Reggie Bush's away.
Right, they took Reggie Bush's away. Yeah.
So
But yeah, John Calipari made it. Now the story with him, this particular case, is that Memphis, because he used to coach at Memphis, he coached Derrick Rose at Memphis,
yeah, the Final
And-
Four team.
had the Final Four team, and they ended up having to vacate some of their wins, which is the same thing that happened over at UMass when he got into a situation with
Camby.
with Marcus
Mhm.
Camby. You remember he almost fought the coach for Temple, John Chaney? John Chaney said, "I'll kill you."
Yeah.
That was a pretty bad situation. That was in the late '80s, I think, early '90s,
Early
90s.
90s.
Right?
It was definitely 90s.
Yeah,
Late
90s.
90s probably.
Was it late '90s?
At least mid 90s. Yeah.
Okay, I guess I'm older than I think. But Memphis was going to give him, they were going to honor him. And they put out, they were going to basically have a day, they were going to put his number up or put something, a banner up in the rafters or something. And apparently the alumni, is my assumption, started getting on the Memphis leadership, the AD.
Mhm.
They stopped it. They said they're not going to honor him now. And they're not going to put him because they're saying that he left them in a lurch, and B, he went to Kentucky. Which I can't understand why they would blame him for going to take a better job, because clearly Kentucky's the better job. But they're not going to put them in their quote-unquote ring of honor or whatever it is. They're not going to honor John Calipari for going to the Hall of Fame, which surprises me a little bit. Because you can't get rid of his history because he did something to that program.
True.
He put spotlight
True.
on that program. Good and bad, but he absolutely put spotlight on that
Yeah,
program.
nobody knew him. They knew Penny and they knew him.
Right. Well, Memphis used to be Memphis State?
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure it is, because then you got to go back to Keith Lee.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
Right.
But I'm saying, we got to talk about it. It's
Right.
not like you say Carolina,
right.
we're just going to go back and forth.
Right.
So we definitely got to talk about it.
Yeah. So, but he's going to the Hall of Fame. Now, the last one that I'm going to talk about that's going to the Hall of Fame, which was a bit interesting to me, was Dikembe Mutombo. Dikembe Mutombo played with a lot of teams. Played with Denver, played with Atlanta. Great defender. I'm not 100% positive he's a Hall of Famer. His career stats are 9.8 points, 10.3 rebounds, and 2.8 blocks.
Okay, so I knew you were going to do this.
Glad you know me, my brother. Glad. Not 100% positive he's a Hall of Famer.
So I think that if you dominate your position for a certain period of time, I don't care what side of the ball it is. I mean, it's Rodman, right? We got a problem with Rodman going?
No, but I believe Rodman's numbers are better.
But it's not all about numbers, though. Because Rodman's numbers aren't just necessarily like...
He's a rebounding machine, and he played great defense.
This dude played great defense.
1 through 5 he could play.
Okay, but that wouldn't reflect his numbers. That's not... Whatever numbers he has isn't reflective of his game. So
Okay.
the eye test is telling you that Rodman was more valuable than any numbers he ever put up.
Yes.
And that's what I think Mutombo was too. Mutombo was on that Philly team, Defensive Player of the Year team. We give Iverson all the credit for them getting to the finals.
How do I not?
And he should get most of it. But somebody was playing. AI wasn't playing D. If he wasn't shooting the gap, he wasn't playing no D. Who was playing D on that team to get there? Mutombo. I got no problem with it.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. And when I heard it and I looked at it, I know he's a great ambassador to the game. All that stuff probably adds in because he does a ton of stuff in Africa.
Right.
I'm not 100% sure. Is Alonzo Mourning getting it? I would have to say no.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And you're okay with that?
Wow. You threw me for a curve here. Zoe's absolutely a better player than him.
Now, Zoe had a couple of years he was out because, he had the situation he had
Kidney.
medically. Yeah, I forget what it was. But listen, all I'm saying is
I have to get back to you on that one.
And you know what? Zoe's going to get in. It may take him a minute. He will get in. Because
do you want to get in the Hall of Fame 20 years later?
Yeah, I want to get in no matter what. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I want to get in no matter what. If I can get in, yeah. If I deserve to be in, if I feel like I deserve to be in, yeah. And I'm sure Alonzo Mourning feels that he deserves to be in. Listen, he ended up helping them win that championship that they won in Miami.
No doubt, no doubt.
He played a big part because Shaq was old. Or looked old anyway.
But here's where I give Shaq credit. I ride Shaq a lot. That year he finished second in MVP.
Carried him the whole season. We agree.
Right.
But felt out of gas by the time they got to that series.
Right.
Out of gas.
So help them win that series.
Right.
Okay. So not help them win that championship. Just want to clear it up for people. I think he contributed during the year, but Shaq was absolutely the man.
He was absolutely 100%.
And D-Wade was growing the entire year.
Yes.
And then when we got to the playoffs, that's when D-Wade came into his own.
Right.
So I just wanted to clear that up for people. That's all.
Okay. Well, we're gonna see if Alonzo gets in, but I'm still up in the air about whether Dikembe Mutombo deserved to get in.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get through those things because a lot of that stuff happened last week, and we needed to kind of talk about it. Let's talk about a little college football. I'm sure you're going to be happy to talk about a little bit of that today.
Why? Why would I be happy?
So I just want to run through.
Almighty fell last night.
I want to run through.
I didn't even watch the whole game. At some point, I was like, I'm done with this.
Yeah, the game was boring. I stopped watching it.
Yes.
We're talking about Alabama. Alabama played Ole Miss at home, and this is the only reason why I'm surprised that Alabama ended up losing, because they were at home. They lost to Ole Miss last year too.
On the road, though.
On the road. So I'm surprised that they lost to Ole Miss last night. Alabama came out looking bad. They had 5 turnovers. Quarterback's not as good as I thought. The kid Coker, it's not as good as I thought. So I'm gonna have to fall back a little bit. I'm not counting Alabama out by no stretch of the imagination. I still expect them to be there in the top 4 at the end, without question.
They still the best team in the country? Because this is what you were preaching to me 2 weeks ago.
I will say this. They're no worse than Ohio State is, because we're going to get to what I watched with Ohio State yesterday. I absolutely watched Ohio State and Northern Iowa, Illinois yesterday.
Okay. What I said was, and what one of the polls, I'm not sure what the poll is. If somebody's listening, text me, please. One of the polls don't come out till after week 4.
Okay.
So they got to see something. So I'm like, well, if you told me to guess, I would guess Ohio State was the best because they brought everybody back. If you told me to.
Right.
But I wouldn't know definitively.
Okay.
You were screaming at me, Alabama's absolutely the best.
Yeah, but for me, this loss is not that big of a deal because it's to another SEC squad that's ranked. Only problem is they lost at home. That's the only issue I have with it, is that they lost at home. And Coker looked terrible yesterday. When I watched, he looked terrible. I finally turned it off. The score was 10-3. I just couldn't watch it anymore. And then all of a sudden the game got exciting, and obviously I woke up this morning and I saw the highlights for it.
Do you watch you a Danny Kanell fan?
No.
I mean, as a commentator? No? You don't like anybody, do you?
Not really.
Mike Francesca.
I love Mike Francesca. And you know what? I think he's a clown. I don't even want to call him racist, but I think he has some tendencies there. But I do enjoy listening to Mike Francesca. Yes, I do.
All right, so Danny Kanell is one of the guys who, he called them all last year. Not all of them, but he called a lot of it last year. And he called this, he was like, I think these teams are pretty even, but Ole Miss has a better quarterback. That's why I'm taking Ole Miss. Okay. These quarterbacks are terrible for Alabama.
Oh, he's bad. This kid Coker's bad.
And defensively, they're not what they used to be. That's what I'm saying. They're okay. They're not as dominant as they were before.
We agree. But, they got a very lucky pass. The ball got tipped up in the air, and they got a touchdown off of that.
I turned it off after that.
Right.
That's when I was like, yeah, I'm done.
That was extremely lucky. They only ended up winning by 6. And Alabama had the bball late.
Here's something that you're going to enjoy. I hope I got this right. No, excuse me for clearing my throat. I know what's going on. Excuse me. Vegas, ESPN has this new formula to predict games.
Okay.
And so this game, I want to say Vegas, one of the two, either Vegas or ESPN, One of them had a 7-point favorite for Alabama,
Okay.
and one had a 1-point favorite
For Ole Miss.
And I'm not sure which one. So if it's ESPN who was off, Vegas been doing this for years.
Right.
So you need to work your formula out to be closer to whatever Vegas does to figure out what. I don't know what Vegas does to figure out what they do, but they get it done.
Yeah.
They keep building hotels out there. Something's working. That's all I got. Something's working out there. So these new stats, I can't listen to Mike and Mike anymore.
Why?
Not on Fridays. Oh, the ESPN stat says that such and such has a 22% chance of it. Greenberg. I can listen to it Monday to Thursday.
But Friday.
I get football Friday. I can't do it. So you gotta find something else to watch in the morning.
Well, I mean, they go through this whole stat scenario. It's just way out of control. Those
Yeah.
useless stats that people use. But Alabama lost. Shocked only because of the fact that they were at home. It's the only reason I'm surprised. Again, it's another SEC school. You know, we still got to talk about LSU. Like yesterday, LSU ended up beating. Who did LSU play yesterday? They played this guy Leonard Fournette. Did you see him, the running back for LSU?
No.
Well, he had 228 yards, and if I can just find who they played yesterday, I can't believe I can't find it. He had 228 yards. They played Auburn. So, number 13, LSU beat Auburn yesterday.
18. Auburn was 18.
Auburn 18, LSU 13. This kid, Leonard Fournette, had 228 yards. Only reason that I'm impressed with it is because one of the D-backs for defensive players for Auburn said, yeah, he shouldn't have a problem stopping him. And he
so
was
you have a
running
problem
people
with him
over.
saying that?
No, I don't. I absolutely have no problem with him saying that.
Mm-hmm.
Zero. No problem. It's not an individual sport. It's not a one-on-one thing. He's talking about the actual team. I mean, I get it. I have no issue with him making that statement. But the reason I brought this up is because, again, I'm looking at Auburn, LSU. I'm looking at Ole Miss. I'm looking at Georgia. All these teams are ranked in the SEC. Ohio State sees one ranked team out of the year. It's probably going to be Michigan State. And I don't even know if they even play each other this year.
I'm sure they do.
I don't know. They all don't play every team. They don't all play every team. But all I'm saying is the road through the SEC, and I'm back to my SEC bandwagon, is so much tougher. Without question, it's so much tougher than what's going on in the Big Ten. You got Rutgers in the Big Ten. Really? You really want me to go there? You got Maryland that lost to Troy State last week. A MAC school that also, another MAC school, Northern Illinois, gave State all they could handle yesterday.
All they want.
And their quarterback was terrible.
All they wanted.
Their quarterback was, he was terrible, and they gave them all they wanted at Ohio State, at that. So this school came on the road from the MAC, went to Ohio State, and lost 20-13, and had a shot late to tie the game.
But we agree styles make fights, right?
We agree.
And so when the SEC goes out of their conference and plays other styles, SEC pretty much plays the same way, right? For the most part.
Mm-hmm.
They play. Now there's some people trying to get in the SEC and change the style of play, but for the most part, they play the same way.
Okay.
Could you go out there and stop a Baylor? Could you go get 40 against Baylor? That's my question for that. You would argue, could Baylor get 40 on them? And I go,
yeah,
fine.
I absolutely will argue that.
That's fine. But what we watched last season, when these dudes went to their bowl games and played out their conference, people were playing with them. Whether beating them or they lost more than they won, but everybody was playing with them. Like, if I lost by, I'm a football team. If I lost by 3, and I'm from the MAC or something, unless you just said it was a out of this world game, I'd be like, wait a minute, maybe play with them. They couldn't play. I think all these other teams couldn't play the SEC style. But if they're playing a different style, those styles not going to work against each other. If I get 30, if somebody get 35 on Alabama, with that quarterback down there, you think they're getting 35? They're getting 36 to win?
Here's what I'm going to tell you. And again, quarterback stinks at Alabama right now, but here's what I'm going to tell you. These schools, and now I'm going to talk against what my selling point for the SEC being better than the Big Ten. These schools, when they go to play these upper echelon or these major 5 conferences,
They get up.
they absolutely get up. And then the other schools don't get up the same because they're playing against a school from the MAC.
Whether we know if it's gonna work or not, here's the difference. In my opinion, you took a Chip Kelly dude at Oregon,
Right.
who decided, this is a fact, this is what he said.
Okay.
He wasn't recruiting 320-pound linemen. He was trying to recruit 280-pound linemen to be faster, more fit, more whatever. He's trying to do this in the NFL. We don't know if it's going to work or not. He tried to recruit a different style. So Saban, on record, was talking about the hurry-up offense because his guys are getting gassed. So when he plays somebody, he might be the best in that conference the way they play. But they play a more up-tempo, no huddle. He complained about the no huddle because his teams are getting gassed because it doesn't work for this big thing that he has.
Right.
So when I bring somebody in with a different style, they could play with them. Could they play in that conference every day? No, because that conference, that style. I don't know if they'd be built for that every day. But for 40 minutes or whatever it is.
You understand? Anybody can beat anybody in one game. We get it. We get it. All I'm telling you is the SEC is a much tougher conference because I'm sitting here.
It's a much. Let's say it right. It's a much more physical conference.
No, I just mean talent-wise. I don't even care about physicality. It's
Even when we look at the draft, like when dudes go into the league, it's not a bunch. What Alabama do in the league? How many Alabama dudes in the league are that good?
Because it's a collective team. I don't care about who's going to the league at that point.
Oh, okay.
It's a collective team.
Oh, so more talented players are in different conferences.
Yeah, they may be scattered out more talented.
Okay.
Yes, I'm not saying
But that
they're
collection of talent is
Absolutely.
better. Nah.
I mean, I gotta sit here and I gotta look at Northwestern go 3-0 and people going crazy. That's the Big Ten. Who's Northwestern really beating? Let's just be honest. Am I really worried about Northwestern when I start talking about college football?
Could I put Ohio State in the SEC?
Yes, you could.
Okay.
But they'd be Ole Miss. They'd be one of these other schools. They'll be one of these other schools. I'm not telling you that Ohio State's not good. I'm just telling you that their road is a lot easier. That's all I'm saying. Their road is a lot easier than these SEC schools because they got to beat up on each other every week.
I don't watch enough college football to be able to tell you that I'm not putting, I don't put anything into a preseason ranking. So you're saying 18 played 12. I'm going, how you know the 18th best team in the country? Where'd you get that from? We just looked at what? The recruits that are coming in. He was a great high school player.
And what was left
We're gonna put it.
Okay, that's how they do that.
And again, until I see, because there are plenty of people, there's nobody who wins the Heisman that they think is going to win the Heisman at the beginning of the year. Nobody.
Yeah.
The last couple of Heisman winners, you thought Manziel was going to, somebody was like, yeah, Johnny Manziel's going to win a Heisman. RG3 is going to win a Heisman. Cam Newton's going to win a Heisman. They don't know. That's why I respect the ranking that comes out after week 4. Because at least you took some information and made it. I might not agree with it, but I respect it because you actually took some real information. This information is not real. He's the best ranked high school player. What does that mean when it comes to forget the league, when it comes to college? What does that mean?
What I'm going to tell you is, after week 4, which will be after next week,
Yeah.
there will be at least 6 teams in the top 20 from the SEC, at least.
All right. I don't
It's
have a problem.
the number is going to be the same.
Hey.
Now, whether they flip around,
I don't
probably
have
is going to happen
I don't-
because some people lost.
I don't have a problem with that.
Same teams are going to be there.
I don't think all the same teams.
Oh, absolutely. It's just the order is going to switch.
Or I don't think all the same teams.
Oh,
I think you're right. I think 6, probably more than 6 now.
Right.
In the top
I think
25.
it's 7 right now. I
Right.
think that's
So
it.
you might have 6, but somebody you wasn't on your radar, and if you watch the game, you might go, "This team's tough." But automatically, it wasn't even SEC for you. It was Alabama.
Yeah. I'm
It
disappointed.
was just Alabama. I was like, well, where you get, if you want to pick it with your philosophy, you want to pick a team for the SEC, fine. But it's Alabama. And you know what? Before next year, it's Alabama again.
Yeah, because they get the best recruits.
Okay.
They get the best recruits.
Okay.
Couple of other notable games. Notre Dame beat on Georgia Tech yesterday, 30-22. That was Notre Dame's ranked number 8. Georgia Tech's ranked number 14. Game was in Notre Dame. It was in South Bend, so they were expected to win, but it was a pretty decent game.
Well, no, because their quarterback got hurt. Malik Zaire got hurt last week.
Right.
And so they brought this guy. So it was questionable. I was not impressed with the young guy, but impressed that they were still able to do what they did.
Right.
It wasn't going to be the same way. The Malik Zaire kid, I don't know his talent, but his swagger is unparalleled.
Really?
He goes, I expect to win the national championship. Next question. I was like, wait a minute, what? Yeah, his swagger is unparalleled.
Right ankle, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately, so.
Well, he'll be back next year. Georgia beat South Carolina 52-20. TCU beat SMU 56-37. TCU is ranked number 3 in America at this point. USC lost. They lost to Stanford at home. They lost 41-31.
Rookie special.
41-31. I was a little surprised by that. And USC was ranked number 6 in America at the time, so I expect their numbers to change. BYU, who had 2 major last-second wins or late wins, they went 2-0. They went into UCLA yesterday and ended up losing 23-24. They lost by 1. But again, the quarterback for BYU had the ball late to pull his miracle act again, but he threw an interception with probably like 20-some seconds left to go in the game. He threw a late pick, whatever. So it didn't go the great way it had gone the first 2 weeks. But again, BYU was in this game at UCLA, so I want to definitely give them their credit. Arizona beat Northern Arizona 77-13.
Here's the thing.
What kind of number is that?
Here's the thing about college football too, that I'm wrestling with. And when do you get to the point where, like in high school and elementary school, there's some competitive. You're not little league. There's a rule once you get up 10 runs or something.
Right.
I mean, these college teams are trying to put up 2,000 so they can move up the ranking. Like, at some point, we get it, right?
Right.
77-13, we get this. At what point did I not get this? I'm turning it off at 42-2. I'm like, yeah, I can leave now. When do we get it? You okay with this?
Am I okay with it?
With them running it up?
Yeah. Listen, it is what it is.
And the running up, does it affect how you perceive them?
Not if you're playing against a bad team, no. Nah, I mean, you're playing the Sisters of the Poor, then I expect you to do that.
St. Mary's School of the Blind.
That's what it is. That's absolutely what it is. So I don't give a whole lot of.
But do you give more credit to the guy who's if St. Mary's School of the Poor loses to Alabama by 4, would you give them credit, or would you be saying Alabama had an off day?
They had an off day.
Don't matter what they do.
Well, listen.
Even if they won,
I gotta say the same thing about Ohio State. Had an off day yesterday. They benched their quarterback. They benched their starter, Cordell Jones, and brought in the other kid to play.
Real quick, what's going through his mind right now? I should have left.
I think he'll get the job back.
He will.
I think he'll get it back. He's a big dude, and I like him physically.
His sample size was so small, so perfect.
He could have jumped on.
Go. And I'm a proponent of all these dudes leaving early. Right. You go, why is he leaving? Why is he doing that? Who's the kid from Syracuse? I'm going to talk about him for the rest of my life.
Tyus Jones.
Oh, he was up there crying. I haven't seen him in the league yet.
You probably won't.
He went 15?
Yeah.
15, 16. Dude, 3 years, what's that? 3 years, $6 million?
Listen,
he gotta go. Can't get exposed.
He's on Minnesota's roster. He's probably going to be a third point guard. Because I was just reading about them yesterday. Okay. That's the only reason I actually know about it, because I was reading about
how. Find out you got a poster of him in your house.
Picture that. But I was reading about how they're saying that they're probably going to trade, what's the point guard, Ricky Rubio. And they're going to let Andre, what's the old head? Andre Miller start.
Really?
Yeah, they're saying before the season's out. Andre Miller will probably be starting. And if he's not starting, he'll be playing late in the games. If they don't get a chance to trade Rubio, he'll be playing late in the games. And Rubio will be sitting because they don't believe that he's ready to handle late game decisions. Plus, he can't score. That's his problem.
Yeah. One of the first guys from overseas who can't shoot.
Yes.
Right.
But they have basically pushed this guy along from probably the last 8-9 years it's been that we've seen this guy on the radar.
And how sick is Minnesota? You took Flynn in the same draft as Steph Curry.
Flynn? Johnny Flynn from Syracuse? I agree.
How sick are they?
Listen, I agree.
You could be off as a scout.
Right.
You could be off. If I was an owner, you could miss. You know, you took Greg Oden and didn't take Kevin Durant. I get it. You know, it depends on what you. Looking back, hindsight, it's like, what are y'all doing up there?
Right.
But if you so far off, like this dude was just hurt all the time, so fine. But like, you can't go Flynn and Steph Curry.
We agree. But again, who knew, right? Who knew?
He was better than Johnny Flynn. We saw the run. He was better than him. We saw him. There was no way Johnny Flynn was better than him. Ever. Any day of his life. I didn't think he was that good up there.
I'm with you. I thought Ty Lawson was way better. He was in that draft as well.
Way better.
Right.
Who? Minnesota took 2 point guards. They took Flynn.
They took Cameron Rubio.
And Rubio.
Yeah, they took Rubio because everybody was going crazy over Rubio.
That overseas hype.
So I read an article. We're going to go a little bit of basketball before we finish up with the NFL. I read an article yesterday about the top 5 players of the 90s in the NBA. Criteria, though, they had to play at least 7 years. I was trying to find an article again, but I'm going to have to go off of memory.
Okay.
Right? So.
I need a pen. Because you're going to say something that I'm going to disagree
No.
with.
I'm going to give you what they said, and I pretty much agreed with everything that they said. So, shooting guard.
No Mike.
Why not? He absolutely played 7 years in the 90s. Absolutely. Remember he came in at 84?
No. Oh, through the 90s.
From
Because he played 90 to 94. And then 96. Oh, it was
right.
96 to 98.
Right. So you got to go from
no, he played 90 to 93
to 2000. He absolutely played 7 years in the 90s. It's the bulk of his career was in the 90s.
But was it 90 to 93? He won 3. Oh,
90.
he won in 91.
Right.
So it is 7. All right. I'm sorry.
So they had to play at least 7 years. So
I got my pen out.
Shooting guard obviously was MJ. The other people that were in contention were Reggie Miller, Clyde Drexler.
Wait. This is a team? So
yeah, 5 years. By position.
Okay.
By position.
All right.
So Reggie Miller, Clyde Drexler, Mitch Richmond, and MJ obviously were the people, right? Point guard. You had to take out Magic because he didn't play 7 years. Jason Kidd can't be on the list because he didn't play 7 years. Came down to 3 people. Gary Payton, John Stockton, Kevin Johnson for the Phoenix Suns.
I'm a big KJ fan.
Okay.
But I would have took Peyton probably.
That's who they took.
Okay.
I agree.
All
When
right.
they took Peyton, they said that
He's
because
the
of
most
Peyton's
underrated.
length, right, his length, he was a good defender at 6'4".
He's a great defender.
Great defender.
Yes.
They try to talk about him guarding Mike in that playoffs. Mike destroyed him, but that's another conversation. But John Stockton is the all-time leader of assists in NBA history, and he's another guy who's going to go down under the radar of how great he actually was.
So okay. Let me just speak to this before you finish.
Okay.
And we talked about Duncan. We talked about rest in peace to Moses Malone today. So I watch these guys with Seattle. Richard Sherman's on every commercial now. I don't know how he's doing this.
Yeah.
But you gotta get some personality. You gotta kind of get out there to be remembered and to be rated. If we can rate it, just a pure rating, like I can look at somebody and say purely how good he is without the hype. You know, like there's some people who we think are better than they are because they have the hype.
Right.
Well, Stockton's better than a lot of dudes.
Yes.
Most people won't remember him because
Right.
he didn't have anything to say. Come in with his polo shirt on, go to work, and go home. So it's Karl Malone.
Right.
When we get to Karl, we talked about this off the air a couple weeks ago. When we get to him,
Right.
he's second leading scorer all time.
Yes, he is.
He totally doesn't get the respect he deserves. I don't care where you rank him. He doesn't get the respect he deserves. Did he
Right.
carry that franchise out there?
I think they carried it together. Him and Malone.
And
Peanut
then
butter and
Stockton.
jelly. I mean, Stockton.
Right.
Peanut butter and jelly.
Okay. All right. It's hard to get 30.
One couldn't be without the other.
Fine. Whatever that combination was, it's hard to get 38. Who drafted them? Let's give them credit too.
Right.
So it's a whole lot of people. But Utah's Utah. And you like, who wants to play out there?
It's true.
Exactly.
Who wants to go to Utah to play?
Who wants to go to Utah to do anything but ski? But all right, I got you. All right, where you at now? The small forward?
So we had the small forward spot. Chris Mullin, Dominique Wilkins, Scottie Pippen. Those were the 3 people on the list.
Okay, they took Scotty, right?
They took Scottie. They basically said that we forget about Scotty's year, which you always talk about. His year after Mike retired, he was 22, 8, and 4, I think, as far as points, rebounds, and assists. His last year, that year after Mike retired, the first time. They talk about that. However, and they say he was the best overall player between the three of them. Overall, he was.
Mullen was a sneaky good defender.
Yes.
He was a sneaky good defender.
Yes.
And in his premier years, lights out.
Best shooter I've ever seen.
And you saw him in person.
And I saw him in person.
Lights out. That's tough though. But yeah, I'll take Scotty. If Scotty doesn't have 6 chips, who we take?
I don't know.
Dominique got some years out there. He was dropping 30. You don't like it, but you're a stat guy.
Dominique was a mascot type player.
He
couldn't shoot.
He snuck his way. How you get 30?
Because he was an incredible athlete, and he figured it out.
Okay, whatever. He got 30. You're a stat guy.
I'm
you
not
dismiss people's stats.
I'm not the biggest Dominique guy.
Exactly.
I didn't dismiss.
You dismiss people's stats that you don't like.
Well, let me say this: when you ask me who do I take, I have to keep him in the. I don't know. I don't know who I take out of the 3 if Scotty doesn't have 6 chips. I don't know which guy I take.
All right.
I don't know because I think it's close.
I'll take Scotty.
Even without the 6 chips, I think it's close.
Well, I don't take Scotty without the year by himself because I didn't know he could do that. And that's why I'm always leery about ranking people who play with other people.
4 points or 3 points.
Yeah, but he was the clear leader of the team. And I didn't know Scotty could lead a team. At some point, I knew Scotty could get his 18. Like, we know that. But at some point, for him to lead a team, and they should have, at minimum, been in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yes, they got a bad call.
Hugh
Hollins.
Right. So, after I saw that, I saw him go to the All-Star game with that MVP. He was like, oh, y'all think this was Mike? Okay, he went out there and wilded out. Well, I know I can't say anything bad about Mike. I don't think he was ever saying he was better than Mike. But I think he was saying, don't think that I am who I am just because of this guy. I'm going to go out here and show you I am this guy regardless. Now, I might be this guy because of him.
Got 22 a night. I'm not going too crazy over that.
Yeah, but he never was going to be a 30 a night guy.
Well, then I can't be sitting here ranting and raving about him then.
Then rant and rave about Dominique.
Incredible athlete.
You won't rant and rave about him, though. So the points don't matter.
No, points do matter.
So Dominique's a 30 guy. I need you to rant and rave about him.
Nah.
Take a minute.
Nah, I'm rant and rave about Dominique.
Because you don't like him.
I didn't say I don't like him. I'm just not the biggest fan.
Okay. You contradict yourself all the time.
There was no contradiction.
That's
I just said I'm not the biggest fan. That's it.
You're not ranting and raving.
No.
You like Scotty. You won't rant and rave about him. Even though he got his 22. He should have been at least in the Eastern Conference Finals. He got his 22. First year him being a leader. 94 was his 6th year in the league. When he came in the league, 87, so his 7th year in the league.
I'm not sure if he was the leader of that team.
Who was it? Horace Grant?
It may have been a collection. B.J. Armstrong. It may have been a collection. I'm not sure.
Let's just go ahead.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Listen, I'm not sure he was the clear-cut leader of that squad. Not 100% positive.
Huh.
All right.
Who was the best player on the team?
He was the best player. There's no conversation.
All right.
Power forward position. Can't add Tim Duncan because he came late 90s.
96.
He probably came even later than that, didn't he? 99 probably, right?
Oh, he won his first 98. Yeah, you're right.
So you can't add him. So it's really 2 people. Charles Barkley, Karl Malone.
Oh, can't wait for you. Can't wait. I'll sit back now.
We already know it's Charles Barkley, and that's who they went with as well. No, they went with Karl Malone. That's the one. This is the one thing that we disagreed on. They went with Karl Malone when we went through it. I absolutely am taking Charles Barkley. Absolutely, I thought he was the better player. Without question. He didn't need somebody to set him up the way that Karl Malone did. Without question, I'm dead. It's how I feel about it. You already know that. So I'm definitely taking Charles
I'm a Barkley fan. I love Barkley.
All right. Which one are you taking?
Is this for a game or for a year?
I don't know. They just said the best player. They just said the top 5 players by position.
It's hard for me, man.
It's not even hard for me at all. Like, for me, it's just not even hard at all because I don't know if Karl Malone could do it without John Stockton. The same thing you were saying about Scotty.
I was just watching NBA TV showing all old fighters now.
Yep.
So they showing the Bulls Utah. And so not the first year, the second year that Utah lost. The first year, Malone got the MVP. He didn't play well in the finals.
Right.
The second year, they lost in Game 6.
Yeah, they should have beat them.
Right. Malone came out there and wowed out. And it wasn't on some old, I'm getting layups. Like, this dude was give me the rock in the post, turning around, scoring.
And then what happened when he got stripped late, right?
Okay, he did. I can make the same argument. Here's the big thing about Barkley. All the anti-Mike dudes, this is what they say. Game 6 against Phoenix, when Mike was coming down the lane and Barkley backed up, didn't foul him, let him go, let him get a layup. I could find individual moments with people all the time.
Yeah, but that's not the same of getting the ball stripped late in the game, though, when they had that game won. That game was salted away.
Okay. Who stripped them? It was Mike and
It was
Scotty?
MJ.
Scotty wasn't involved in that?
MJ came from the backside and stole the ball.
Okay.
He came from the backside and stole the ball.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying,
Right.
I watched
the same thing that you talk about with these football players late in the game and blah, blah, blah. Okay, it's late in the game. I don't go by that theory, but you do.
No, but I will. But I'm just saying, I watched Malone go to 2 finals, and I watched Barkley go to 1 final.
Okay.
So what am I going to say about the lights when they come on?
Well, when do the lights come on? That's the question already.
No, when I compare these two.
Right. When do the lights come on? Charles Barkley played great against against the Bulls.
He averaged 30 and did
Right.
whatever. I just don't think it's far apart. That's what I'm saying. There's no lights on moment where I'm going, wow, Barkley did this, and I can find what Barkley didn't do as well as I can find what Malone didn't do. That's all I'm saying.
I just believe that Barkley was the better player, and he didn't need someone else to basically set him up.
And I just think that's fine, but I think you're also saying he got these 38,000 on layups from Stockton. That's what you think. That's
good
not
22,000 of them. Between that and the free throw line,
that.
he went to the free throw line a ton too.
I can't go with that.
Okay, all right.
But you know what? My heart will probably tell me Barkley. I just don't want to be disrespectful, so I'm all right with Barkley though. Barkley's one of my favorite players of all time, especially what he overcame. Right. He's 6'4".
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because if he was 6'9", I don't know what would have been going on.
Right.
So yeah, I'll go with Barkley.
All right, so the last one was the toughest one of the group. Center position. 90s. It's got to be the golden age of centers.
Let me guess them. Ewing, Robinson, Olajuwon.
Mm-hmm. One more.
Oh, it's more than 3?
Yeah.
Ewing, Olajuwon. Don't tell me. Shaq.
Yes.
92. Right, okay.
That has to be the golden age of centers. Has to be the golden age. Because they all were in their prime. All of them were in their prime at that point. Because Hakeem came in 80, right before Ewing or after? He came in after, 85. Ewing came in 84. No. Ewing came in after him in 85. Hakeem came in at 84. David Robinson did his 2 years. He probably came in somewhere around 86 or 87. Okay. So they all were in their prime in the 90s. Now, they were obviously getting ready to go to the end of their prime, but they absolutely were in their prime in the 90s. They were that 30-year-old. And Shaq was the young kid.
And Shaq got to the finals in 2000. He was an MVP by 2001. Wow. I'm taking Shaq.
That's who they took, and that's who I'm taking.
I'm taking Shaq. Yeah, I'm taking Shaq.
That was the toughest race, though.
Yeah, that made me think hard.
If you take Shaq out of that list, who you taking? Hakeem, Pat, or David Robinson?
I was a D-Rob fan. And
really?
I know you don't like him.
Why?
I was a
Why?
What do you mean, Laura?
Why? What was it about his game that impressed you? Just anything.
I thought he was the first one of these athletic big dudes that we saw.
Right?
That impressed me.
He's Dwight Howard. Just a little bit better.
Before Dwight Howard, though.
Right.
So that impressed me. I see these guys now, and I go, I'll put them up against guys now, and I go, But the first I saw, we talking about what we saw.
Right.
He's the first center I saw running up and down the court like that.
Right.
Shooting, Ewing was shooting mid-range, and Hakeem got it at some point.
Right.
This dude was beating guards up the floor.
Right. He did.
So for me, that was impressive. That's why I liked him. And he put work in. He put Defensive Player of the Year work in. He got his scoring title is real tainted. It's real tainted.
The East was easy, though. I mean, the West was easy. There were no real players out there in the West. The East was the dominant conference.
You tell me you said the golden age of centers, the two of the top 3 centers was in the West. Akeem was in the West.
Three
He
of
was
the
in
top
the
four.
West.
Right.
I'm saying, but you told me to take Shaq out.
Okay.
So I'm taking Shaq out. 2 of the top 3 centers out there.
Team-wise, the West wasn't as strong as the East.
But his position. I'm just talking about his position.
All right. Yeah, give me Patrick Ewing.
I so hate Pat.
Give me Patrick
I
Ewing.
so hate Pat.
Patrick Ewing never had any help, ever. He's the only one of that group that never had a real second guy on his team. The only one. Every one of those guys had a second guy. Pat never had a second guy. And he had to fight Mike every year just to get to the finals. Give me Patrick Ewing. And they had knockdown, drag-out fights every year in the Eastern Conference Finals or the semifinals. Every year. Give me Pat. And he had nothing else with them. John Starks, really? He's loved around New York area. Great. Not saying he wasn't a good player around here.
He was okay.
He was. He was okay. But he's a guy who was bagging groceries.
I'm with you. He's okay.
But Patrick Ewing never had that second star. He just didn't. And by the time he got it, it was Grandmama, and Pat was basically old at that point. By the time he got it, it was Larry Johnson. Then Larry Johnson started having back issues. And you know what? He wasn't even Grandmama at that point. I think Grandmama ended when he was in Charlotte. He had to be the second best player that Patrick Ewing ever played with. When you sit down and you think about it, Larry Johnson probably was.
But if I take out the Duncan years with Robinson, who do you have?
At least he played with Sean Elliott.
Okay, and I like Sean.
Who else are you giving me from the Knicks?
Oakley?
Like I said, who else you giving me? He's a bruiser. That's all he was.
Whatever. Oakley?
Yeah,
I mean, Sean Elliott wasn't no...
He was a 17-point-a-night guy, 16-point-a-night guy. You could count on it.
Oh, God. Nobody was getting
You could run the offense through him.
What's the highest that Patrick Ewing ever finished in the MVP vote?
I don't know. I have to look that up. I'm not sure.
Because I watched D-Rob get one.
Yeah, okay. That same year he won a scoring title?
I'm not sure. I watched him get Defensive Player of the Year, too.
Yeah, he did.
I watched him do that. Like, when we look at the numbers and the stats and the awards and everything, I'm like, what's the conversation here?
Yeah, I'm taking Patrick Ewing every time.
You taking Patrick over Akeem?
I wish Mike didn't retire.
Why? Because when Mike retired, what's his name was still over there? Ewing was still here.
Right, he got to one finals, and he was hurt one of the years.
Who did he lose to?
In the finals? Who did they lose to?
Akeem. They the only one that got the other 2. Had to be Akeem, right?
Yeah, I guess, it had to be Akeem.
They lost to him.
Yeah.
And he played, right?
I wish.
Okay.
Listen.
Okay. It's all good.
That's my point. I wish Mike didn't retire because then there wouldn't even be a conversation to me. Because then Hakeem doesn't get any rings. And Hakeem don't get no rings. Yeah, give me without question. Give me Patrick Ewing. And I could be biased because I watch Patrick Ewing every night.
Exactly.
I watched him every night.
Exactly. But here's what we do have. They played each other.
Right.
Who won?
Who had the better team? And it wasn't the year that Hakeem dominated. That was the next year that he dominated. He just went nuts.
Yeah, give me Hakeem. Pat's last on this list.
Wait a minute. He didn't lose to Hakeem. He couldn't have.
Why?
Because didn't Hakeem beat Shaq?
No, he went 99.
Hakeem beat Shaq.
No, he lost to David Robinson. You're right.
Right. Yeah, Hakeem beat Shaq and
Reggie Miller.
Right.
He lost in 99.
Right.
He lost to Duncan. Oh, and David Robinson. No, it wasn't D-Rob, it was Duncan.
Well, yeah, David Robinson was finished at that point.
Okay, so he lost to Duncan.
And he had John Starks taking 20-some shots in the game, and he was 3 for 20, and I almost cursed. He was 3 for 20.
Okay, in the game before he missed the finger roll, we'd be out of here, right? Wasn't that
He did miss a finger roll.
Oh, okay.
But he couldn't have dunked the ball, though. Everybody seems to think he could have. There's no way he could have dunked that ball.
He missed the finger roll, right?
He did. He missed the shot.
Okay. All good. All good. Because if you didn't like the dude, oh my God, you'd be talking about how he missed his finger roll.
No, it was terrible. He missed the finger roll. He absolutely did.
Yeah, Pat's last on that list. But that's a great team right there.
It is. It's a great team.
If Mike got to play with Peyton, whew, Peyton's
That's
attitude, Mike, he wouldn't care about what
Yeah,
Mike was talking about. He wouldn't have cared about what Mike was
Defensively, though, that backcourt would be special.
Oh my God. With Mike, Peyton, and Scotty, the perimeter defense would have been ugly. Ugly.
put Shaq in the middle, because people wasn't just coming down the lane on Shaq. Like, he
Here's
wasn't
the thing. Shaq ain't played D.
Right.
I only saw him get dunked on once. You told me 3 times.
Yeah. No, I didn't tell you 3. I saw him. What's Derek Coleman?
Derek Coleman.
Right. That's the only one I've
That's
seen.
it.
Yeah.
I think somebody said 3. Maybe he said 3 times.
Oh, really? Yeah. I've only seen Derek Coleman. That's it. Do it to him.
Barkley ain't playing no D, but on this squad, we don't need him to. Let's go out there and do what you do, man.
I don't know if you can get 5 better players, including this era of players, to beat that team. I don't know if you could. But that's a conversation for
Can
another
we have that
day.
conversation right now?
No, we got to talk NFL.
Let me get this. Just give me 2 minutes.
All right,
Just give me 2 minutes. I told you what I'm doing. So I got Kobe from Mike. And Mike will beat him, but not by much.
Okay.
We got to be honest about that, right? At this point.
Mm-hmm.
Give me LBJ.
Mm-hmm.
Is he getting
He
Scotty?
wins that. Yeah, he wins that.
All right. I'm running a 3-forward offense. So give me Durant.
Well, no, you can't do that. You got to go by
Take a
position.
point guard.
Yeah, you got to go by position. That's what we did, right?
All right.
So you got to have a point guard, a shooting guard, a small center, and a power.
I'm going to tell you.
Go by position.
I'm going to get you upset. Give me Kyrie.
Okay.
He got Peyton?
No.
Steph?
No.
Chris Paul?
No. You know I'm not going to say Chris Paul.
Jason Kidd? I got to put Chris on the team just because we talking about a whole body of work. At the end of the day, Chris going to wind up being 19-8. He going to be everything the rest of these dudes are. Everything the rest of these dudes are. You just don't like them. At the 4. All right, give me Timmy. The guy who Barkley says the best power forward ever.
That don't mean that.
Okay, give me that. I lose at the center all day.
All day.
All day.
Because you can't even take Shaq.
Yeah, I lose
And
it. I'd have to take Dwight. Young Dwight versus young Shaq would have been good.
No, but no.
I give me Dwight.
You can't find 5 guys to beat that group.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not in the game with this.
I ain't say you're not in the game, but you can't find 5 guys to win a series. I mean, obviously they could win a game, but to win a 7-game series, you're not finding 5 guys to beat that group.
All right, let's table this for
Let's table it for another day.
All
All right, let's get to the NFL. I want to talk about Eli Manning and his brain fart last week.
No, you did.
My Dallas Cowboys hosted the Giants last week, and Eli Manning, I'm not too mad at him telling the guy not to score, if that's what the philosophy is. I'm not a believer in that philosophy. So the Giants could have been up 10 points late in that game with 2 minutes, a little bit over 2 minutes to go. And they decided to Eli told his running back, Rashad Jennings, not to score. Now that came out, Rashad Jennings came out, he talked about it. Probably shouldn't have said that because it started a storm around this New York area. Everybody was talking about it. Made Eli, the back of the New York Post or the Daily News had the helmet of the Giants as a dunce cap. And they called Eli a dunce. $84 million dunce is what they called him. Then Eli Manning threw the ball on 3rd down as opposed to running the ball, which meant the clock stopped running. On top of that, there's a play where they basically should have let the clock run down to 5 seconds or 3 seconds. He snapped it at 20-some seconds. So he did a lot. He made a lot of mistakes late in that game. And all my thing is that this was Tony Romo. It would have been just completely blown out of proportion. And not that they didn't knock Eli, because they did.
Blew this out of proportion.
Well,
I think it was in proportion.
It would have just been another magnitude if it were Tony
I don't
Romo.
know.
If it were,
I never heard Eli get ripped like this, so I'm not sure.
I've been ripping him the whole time.
No, I know, but I'm saying media-wise, I never.
Right.
We both agree he gets passes. He didn't get one this time,
Right.
So I don't know. He didn't get one this time. And again, fair or unfair, Romo get a chip. All this other stuff would be gone.
Which is just crazy to me.
Okay, we agree, but
It's just crazy to me.
we agree, but I'm different. Like you know, I'm different.
Right.
I'm like, I'll judge your play individually. I thought Romo had. I don't know if it was statistically, but I thought he had one of his best. I thought Tony Romo was the best I ever saw him last year.
Probably.
And so I didn't care.
Efficiency.
But just in general, like it looked like he has. I look at small stuff. He don't got the thing on his wrist
Yeah, he's
anymore.
not hurting. Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the plays on his
Oh.
wrist. He has last 2 years he hasn't had that. And I'm going. I watched him grow as a quarterback. So now, I'm like, yeah, he's a top 10 quarterback now. I get that. He's a better quarterback than Eli is. He's probably, if I had to think about it honestly, top 7 or 8 in the league now, easily. And that's just me just thinking really, really quickly.
Right.
I always thought Eli, I talk to you all the time about these Mannings. all the time. So you know that's not me.
Out these Mannings. That's,
Both of them.
That's
clowns.
a shot.
Both of them clowns.
First off, he's not a clown. Peyton Manning is not a clown. That's not even fair for you to even make that statement.
All right, both of these guys.
This guy has 70,000 yards. He's getting ready to take over Brett Favre. You can't even possibly call him a clown. You can't.
Was Brett Favre better than him?
No.
Why?
But Brett Favre should probably be ranked higher than what he is. People don't talk about him.
Where would you put Brett Favre in your top 5?
I'm different.
Would he get your top? Would he get in the top 5?
That I've seen play?
Yeah.
I'm about to make a lot of people mad, probably.
Go ahead, do what you do.
In no particular order, but I'm going to still start with Peyton because he's my one.
Okay.
Peyton.
This is deafening.
I'm going to leave this one guy out until last. Peyton, Brett Favre, Dan Marino.
Peyton. All right. Let me.
No order.
No, but let me write it down.
Peyton,
so I can
Brett
refer
Favre,
to it.
Dan Marino.
Peyton, Favre, Marino.
I hate to put this guy in this list because I don't necessarily believe it, but Tom Brady. I don't necessarily believe
He
it.
got 50,000 up there.
Yeah, I don't necessarily.
You don't
believe
care
it.
about his 50 dollars.
I
You don't care about his
put
50.
him in the list
Why don't you want to?
because
He got everything you can ask for,
That's
and
the
did it
only-
with no talent.
That's not true. It's not
Who
true.
was his wide receiver? He had his record breaking. He had a great receiver.
I'm not gonna sit here and fight about Tom
Okay.
Brady today.
Okay.
I'm not.
Okay, Brady.
I guess I have to put Joe Montana there.
You don't want to though, right?
I won't say I don't want to, but I guess I have to only because he got the rings. But there was nothing great about Joe Montana. He got those rings, yes.
No problem. You don't gotta put mine.
That's probably where
You
I'm
put
gonna
Elway
probably
in there?
go. Oh, I forgot about
Yeah,
Elway.
I'm gonna give you that. Elway. Where you put Elway at?
Wait.
Where you put Elway at? Okay, let me give you that. You ain't gotta put my boy Joe in.
No.
Elway.
Now I'm debating on whether it's Joe or Tom Brady. Because Elway absolutely goes on that list.
Okay.
Elway
Elway better than Favre?
I think they're the same guy. I think they're the same guy because Elway won his championships with Terrell Davis. I think Favre actually won his, but I think they're the same guy, though. I think they're the same guy. Favre just gets a lot of heat because he threw so many INTs, but I absolutely believe they're the same guy.
Mm.
Talent-wise, I absolutely believe they're the same guy. Listen, I'm going to let you decide whether it's Marino or Brady. I mean, not Marino. Joe Brady, running back. Sold on why everybody's going crazy about him. And they need to win because they can't go down basically 2 games to us.
No.
2.5 games at that point in the division.
In the division.
Right, in the division. I don't like the way that they've done these divisional games up front so early.
Right.
It bothers me, but that's kind of what it is. If we can win, that gives us a great leg up with Dez being out. If we can figure out how to win this game, it's a major, major deal.
We're going to find out what y'all are today without Dez.
I know we are out there. We're not that talented. I know we are. And the pick'em game, the bonus game I wanted to give this week were the Jets at the Colts. Jets are 1-0. Colts are 0-1. They're at Indianapolis. That Jets defense. And I'm going to say this. Ryan Fitzpatrick is going back to the bench, and Geno Smith is going to start when he comes back. Geno Smith is a better quarterback than Ryan Fitzpatrick. And I can't believe I'm saying it, but he is. He brings more to that offense for the Jets than Ryan Fitzpatrick does. Who are you taking?
Oof.
It's a pick'em game to me.
Yeah, I'm probably taking the Colts because they're home.
Right. If they were,
And they lost.
Right. And they need to win.
Desperation always plays into my picking. Wow. Should be good, though.
Last thing I want to say, I am so happy the Rams are not on my schedule this year, the Cowboys schedule. I do not want to see the Rams.
No, nobody wants to see them.
Listen, defensively,
Nobody wants to see them.
do not want to see the Rams.
Nobody wants to see them.
What's that? Fisher's the coach?
Yeah. Jeff Fisher.
Incredible job over there. Now, getting Nick Foles, great move for them to get rid of Sam Bradford. I'm not sure how great Nick Foles is.
But he's serviceable.
He's serviceable, and he's not as
And
injury prone.
He's what I'm talking about with the Buffalo Bills. That's why I was saying about the Rams maybe winning the division.
Right.
Defensively, they're stout. We just need somebody. Get us 20. You get us 20.